We are live. Hello, hello, everybody. This is a
Hello.
Schmudgeon of Curmudgeon. I am Bill Adams, and this is, I never get this right. This is Dewey Conway. And with us today on this special episode, yeah, we can do this one's easy. On a special episode on Halloween, so happy Halloween, by the way. We have Dr. Fantasy himself, Dr. Philip Chase. We asked him on because he did something really cool this week, and he chose us, surprisingly, to move on as a finalist in the SPFBO competition. So we wanted to celebrate that, but we also wanted to, pick his brain a little bit and see how his thoughts on it, and also just to say thank you. This is mainly just a thank you to him for giving us an awesome shot at this comp. So, Dr. Chase, you'd like to say anything before we get into it? Looks like we got a nice little audience going here.
Yeah, sure. First of all, you can call me Philip. You don't have to say doctor or anything like that. Secondly, I have three things to say. Secondly, I want to give full credit to Brian, who from BellTube, who actually is my team member who sent Tanna, the Tenacious Tale, I should say, of Tanna and the Tendersword.
Yeah,
as a semi-finalist to me, and I assigned this to Brian thinking that he would be very open to having a fun time with it. I was judging a book by its cover, honestly. And thinking, okay, this looks like something Brian would have fun with. So
Brian.
There, speak of the devil, there he is. So yes, I have to give full credit to Brian for forwarding the book he was supposed to be here too, I think, but he had some excuse about
Halloween or something.
Halloween,
yeah.
Or I don't know.
I don't know. So, I don't believe that.
Actually, Brian, if you're there, you can hear me. Why don't you have Rick Thunder take care of the trick-or-treaters, and you can come and hang out with us?
I can send you the link, Brian. I can send it to you.
Yeah, I mean, Rick has got it covered. He'll take care of the kids. So, anyway. We'll see how he responds to that. But anyway, maybe he's got trick-or-treaters right now at the door. And he didn't hear any of that. Who knows? But this is, I had a third thing too. What was it? I loved this book. This was so much fun. I had a blast reading The Tenacious Tale of Tanna and the Tanna the Tendersword. And I want to congratulate you guys on producing such a beautiful book. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Well, I mean, he could do it from the hot tub, Brian. Just saying.
What one does it still go to out there? That's crazy.
You have to know about Rick Thunder. He's got a thing about hot tubs.
Well, don't we all?
I mean, so anyway, this was a delightful read. You two produced a beautiful. I was laughing. You can ask my wife how much I was laughing while I was reading this book. And she kept looking at me like, you must be enjoying that. And I was like, yeah, I really am. I had such a blast with this book, you two. And it has so much heart in it as well that I got a little choked up here and there too. And you have I think I described it in the video with Brian and the others as the sort of perfect odd couple that you have in here with Galdefort and with Tanna. And so brilliantly done, just brilliantly done. And congratulations, you fully deserve to be an SPFBO finalist. So how does that feel, you two? I get to ask questions too, right?
No, of course you do.
Yeah,
this is,
how does it feel to be an SPFBO finalist?
Dewey, you could start because I'll just preface this by saying Dewey had no idea what this competition was when I submitted to it. I had followed it because I read Sentinel Ascends years ago when they first published it, right? And so I've been following it for years. Dewey had no idea. I explained it to him about 30 times how this worked. And he still didn't understand it until about 2 days ago.
I understood it.
They got the semifinal, or they got the finalist nod. He's like, I finally understand how this works.
Yeah,
I'm not. How do you feel about being a finalist?
I'm extremely humbled by it. Seeing I mean, obviously, I know what a competition is. Bill's pointing out that I don't do a big social media presence. I don't really have all that, and so just kind of do my thing, and do my writing and do my illustrating, and then just kind of stay in my hole. And so Bill is really wonderful about staying on social media and staying on top of things, and yeah, it's something I always tell him, you need to stop. You need to get off for your health here. Just get off, because sometimes it's a lot, but he's very good about that. And so he did tell me one day, he said, "Hey, I think I'm going to enter Tanna into this this competition." I said, "What's it? Okay, what's it called?" And he said, "SPFBO." And I thought, I thought, oh, all right, it's like a spiffy kind of thing. I didn't, my brain wasn't thinking it was an acronym.
And this year it's actually SPFBOX.
Yeah, they changed it.
Oh, that's what you said. You said SPFBOX.
Yeah.
So that's right. That's right. Because I did think about cleaning at that like spiffy box. I don't know. My brain was weird. And so he told me that, and I just went, oh, okay, great. And then just went on my way. And then we ended up with, when Brian read it and did his video and Bill sent that to me, I went, oh, wow, this is weird. Like, it was so, I didn't really know about it. I didn't really follow all the Twitter stuff. And since then I have researched it. Since then I have looked into it, and it is an overwhelming feeling, because that the feeling of even being considered for something like this is very it's surreal. It's because I would never have expected something like this. We've been through a lot, Bill and I, with this story, and so to have it, to have the joy come out with people like Brian and like you and others that have read it, and to have that joy expressed is just really so cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. We lucked out considerably having Team Chase as our group, because the way that obviously this competition is not like, there's no set rules for the judging teams. They
right. We don't entirely make them up, but we kind of make them up. Yeah.
You kind of do is like each team does what they want to do, and
more or less. Yeah.
We lucked out because as I knew Brian got our group, and he came out and said, I will 100% read each book, and I will give each one of them a fair shot regardless of my taste. And I won't lie, I told this to Dewey, I go, crap, there's a lit RPG book in Brian's group, and
I put that there too.
And I was like, oh man, that's the one that we got to watch out for in our group.
Yeah, but no, Brian's not. Yeah, so he loves lit RPG, but as he said, he's looking for the book that does what it's supposed to do best, right? That and that was Tanna, so being a lit RPG fan, and he'll be the first to say there are some lit RPG books. I'm sure he had a great time reading that one, but this one kind of got his attention, and mine too. So yeah.
So before we move on, we do have a shtick we always open the video, or a Schmudgeon of Curmudgeon with.
Okay.
It's not really fitting right now because this is a happy celebration, but because our show is called A Schmudgeon of Curmudgeon, we do this thing called the Curmudgeon scale. Dewey, can you bring it up for everybody?
Oh, okay.
So we always rate ourselves on a curmudgeon scale because, and you're an honorary curmudgeon today, and
I feel very honored. Yeah.
And so what we have is a scale of 0 to 10, and 0 right now is really, since it's Halloween, it's the mummy. It's just some kind of, I'm kind of, I'm okay. I'm just kind of going around and doing my thing. Halfway through, we got Frankenstein's monster, who's pretty terrifying, but he's pretty typical. But then you have Mr. Hyde up here at 10, which he's not taking any shenanigans. He's gonna take care of the kids. And so typically what we start with is with our honorary guest, and I'll move your little button around and put you on the scale. Where do you think you fall today?
I don't know. I mean, I've been accused of being Dr. Fantasy and Professor Chase, kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, myself. So I certainly, I mean, you'd have to ask. You could ask Brian. I guess he'll have a good answer. I'm sure. I feel like he's an impartial judge on this matter. So, Brian, where would you put me on the curmudgeon scale, man? Remember, I'm gonna get you next time the Quilluminati get together. So I don't know. Let's see what Brian says.
We'll tell you what. While he's,
I have a fun question though too that involves Brian and the rest of your team. So you might be able to get back at him today.
Oh, and there's Laura. I also just while you had. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really
that's fine.
Wanted to just shout out Laura there, whose book I enjoyed very much as well. Was in our group. It was another really fun. He put me at 1.5.
Yeah, okay. You're very
he's playing nice tonight.
Yeah,
right.
that's
hardly curmudgeonly at all, right? I mean,
no, it's you're very pleasant and enjoy people. Typically, so I'm going to ask Bill, where are you today? Think about your day.
Yeah, today. Well, before I get there, I will say I did just finish Laura's books, The Sunset Sovereign.
Oh, brilliant!
This week, it was fantastic. It was a great book, and I told her this. Me and her were chatting, on the side, waiting for this video to pop. I was like, if there's somebody that would win out of this, I would want her because I really, really love that book.
Yeah. Oh, and she conducted herself exactly the way every judge hopes an author will conduct themselves in this contest. In other words, just very generous, very kind, very. She was one of the first, I think, to congratulate you two.
Definitely was.
I love
nice little crochet bird.
Yes,
a little sword in the foot, so it looked like eggs.
So appropriate. No, that is. I mean, that's just exactly the what I love about SPFBO as a contest is that it's not a contest; it's a community, and it's beautiful to see people behaving the way that Laura did. I just admire that so much.
100%. That's what I said from the beginning too. I know we're getting off topic here a little bit, but like I said, this was all about supporting. That's why I love this comp is it's just supporting the community as a whole, and it's just so much fun.
The topic is what we're talking about for sure. No, but this is just, because I know where I am. And honestly, today it's skewed because I'm happy today. So
I'll say I'm at an 8 just because we had Dave Lawson on last night. And, he just really gets me riled up, especially after, a night of thinking about him trying to call me out.
Oh, my goodness.
Who I should kick out of our Secret Scribes group.
He asked that question. He asked
that question. And the Magic 8 Ball, agreed with it. So I'm on an 8 scale.
You're in an 8. Well, just so you know, usually I start my day at a 10 or so. I've got to go out and walk the dogs, and there's always dogs. And it's just like, oh my gosh. But today, in talking about all of this, I'm gonna have to go down to my abnormal. I'm gonna go down to 6.5. That is really abnormal for me.
Wow.
But yeah, maybe 6. I don't know. But yes, so this makes me feel wonderful that that you're at 1.5. You've claimed the title as like Dave said. Dave was 2.5
this week.
Wait, so the lower you are on the scale, that makes you claim the title? That's how it works?
Well, claim the title of being the lowest curmudgeon, lowest curmudgeonly guest.
Curmudgeon of us all.
But at least I'm still on the curmudgeon spectrum. That's the important.
True. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Now Tanna would be like over here.
Yeah, but, Tanna is like not even on the scale. She's like
doesn't make it. No,
she's way over there.
But where's Calder for it? Where was Calder for it?
Cracked up before we get. I cracked up when Brian was talking about what Geldefort was in the video. Where he's like, sounds like a 55-year-old with like 3 ex-wives, a couple of mortgages. I'm like, I was thinking about stuff. I'm like, oh, that's Dewey minus the ex-wives.
Stop looking at me like that. It's
that was so much. It was so funny when he said that. I was like, "Yep, that's Dewey as well."
Oh well, I mean it is what it is, but he's captured. I am captured in Galdefort. I'm glad you enjoyed Galdefort. I hope you did. Anyway,
Oh, I love
he's-
Galdefort. Yeah, he's exactly the kind of person that I would enjoy teasing.
he might not enjoy it.
No, he would hate me.
All right, so thank you so much for participating with our curmudgeon skill. I feel
that was fun. Yeah.
honored. Galdefort, and yet I'm more Tanna than.
So
Yeah,
I have
maybe.
a question, and this was in neither you or Brian brought this up, and I was kind of curious of what both of you thought, since you're big time readers and you, Philip, are an author. What did you think about the academic and the book stuff in the book?
So
like the guidebook stuff.
You mean like Galdefort's? He is a chronicler. And
right, chronicler in training.
Part of a school of chroniclers, and he has this maybe even more curmudgeonly than he is. This guy, I forget his title, but
Darnicus.
Yeah,
assistant coordinating abbot.
There we go. The assistant coordinating abbot.
Old Puffy Bridges.
Who seems to embody the spirit of the crusty professor type. That professor who's sort of become part of the woodwork almost. They've been around so long, and
like a medievalist,
like a medievalist. Yeah, like a medievalist. I mean, they're the worst. They're the crustiest of all.
I'm joking.
So, I mean, academia is such a funny place because it is a place where you will find a few eccentric individuals. I'm sure that you might have observed that over time. You probably had a few eccentric professors yourself. What I've always learned, though, that even the Darnicus has something interesting, has a story, has something about them that there's something underneath all that crustiness.
No spoilers to book 2. No spoilers.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Are we getting a Darnicus spin-off story sometime?
Not a spinoff. No.
He'll be very important in book 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yep. He thinks he's important. Yes, but he will be. He will be important.
That's great. That is how it is, though. I think everybody has a story, and Darnicus has got some. There's something. There's more to Darnicus than just that stereotype, I think.
Well, and then I guess I want to ask if you've ever read a story that had a rooster as a main character. Because he is the main character. Make no mistake.
So yeah, I have. In Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, you have the Nun's Priest Tale about Chanticleer. Absolutely, yeah.
No, see, I was waiting for this comment to come up because Dewey's going to fawn over you, Philip, because he loves the Old Norse, the Old English, all those that time period, and that's what he teaches. Dewey.
That's what I do.
I know, it's incredible.
I'm a crusty medievalist.
Well, I'll fawn over you for the crusty part, because I do. That's the part.
Okay, so we do have another stick.
Nun's Priest Tale. Yep, there you go. It's a fun one, by the way. You'd love it. You would love it. It's a funny tale.
Funny aside,
I've actually read it. I forgot about it. I forgot. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
He's gosh.
Funny aside, though, that you mention it, the reason I got into writing my own stories was because my senior year of high school in English class, we had to write our own Canterbury Tale. And I wrote a story about a lecherous knight, obviously, because that's what it was. And I wrote it in, the same style of Chaucer. And that's what got me into the writing game. So
that's so cool. Yeah. I love hearing that.
Dewey, we also have another shtick that we do here. So Dewey, bring up the wheel.
Hold on.
Wheel of questions. And this is a Halloween SPFBO version of it.
Yeah, we do this, and I think it's fun. Let me pull it up. So we have a wheel of questions because sometimes, we have our questions for you, but we really want to get to the meat of Dr. Philip Chase, like what
Uh-oh.
makes you who you are.
Oh,
And
no.
so we have we have these spooky questions for you.
Okay.
And on the wheel here, I have 8. We have 8 questions,
Okay.
and the 8 questions the question you'll answer will be based on the wheel. So I'm going to spin the wheel.
Okay.
And we'll see which question comes first.
Some of these are SPFBO specific.
Okay.
And also
so spectral force. So we're gonna have Frankenstein here. Okay. You meet your favorite author. Oh, and discover that discover they use Gen AI to write their books. What do you say to them? Like how would you react?
Oh, Geoffrey Chaucer, I'm so disappointed in you. No, no. I mean, I guess for the longest time, Tolkien was my favorite, and there was no AI when he was around. Steven Erikson, though, is the author of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, is probably my favorite author of all time right now. And first of all, he would laugh at this idea. It's funny this came up because a couple years ago or so, my friend AP Kahneman and I did a video basically seeing if ChatGPT could write like Steven Erikson. And it did a horrible job, at least a couple years ago. It's probably improved since then. I don't know if anybody's fed it Malazan Book of the Fallen or not. I hope not, but you never know. But what would I say to Steven Erikson if I found out he used AI? I don't know. I'm completely opposed to AI myself in creative endeavors. I don't think that people should call a piece of art anything that they created if they use AI to create it, or a book or anything of that nature. So I would have to, I'd have to say to him, witness. There you go, Brian. Just say witness. Yeah. That's a Malazan thing.
Gotcha.
Well, wasn't his like co-Malazan guy? Didn't
Ian
he
Esselman?
The cover issue with AI?
So it was not AI. It was simply the cover artist used, like many other cover artists, use digital elements, and it didn't look like it was blended in particularly well at a certain point. But it was not AI at all. So
it's just it's hard to get away from, especially when Adobe has adopted it, and most artists use Photoshop and or Illustrator, and everything is just integrated, and you can't opt out. So it's difficult.
And keep in mind too that the author would have almost no say on the cover either. That's Tor or whoever the publisher is. So, but in that case, it was not AI.
Okay.
Yeah, I would expect them to pay money. Yeah, for
you would think, right?
You would think.
They're not like us, self-published authors, reaching deep into our pockets, trying to pay these wonderful artists and everything. So
well, let's just have an aside there and say, wow, what about that cover you announced today with the BBB, the Broken Binding?
Yeah.
That thing was pretty stellar, huh?
I could not be happier with that. Renee Egner is the name of that artist, and he also did the interior. There it is. He also did the interior art for the special edition that the Broken Binding is putting out. So I'm so happy.
This is beautiful.
Is that
absolutely beautiful?
Jay Raven.
That's Jay Raven on the left, and that's Imhar on the right.
Okay, that's Imhara.
Or that's the way I'm looking at it anyway. Imhar. Yep.
Yeah, I'm only about 30% in. I started Way of Eden.
Oh, did you? Okay. Wow. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, so I want to ask you about it. These are your books.
Yes.
So I'm really excited that you have trilogy out. And I love these. I mean, I love the artwork I just showed is stunning. It's beautiful. I would say though that the covers you have now with the stained glass approach and everything, these are very eye catching
I'm
and
pretty happy with them. Yeah.
yeah. And so I haven't had a chance to read this just yet. Bill started it, like he said, but I would love. Can we ask you about this? Can we ask you about your writing adventure and what you've been doing
Oh,
with
sure.
the
Yeah.
trilogy?
I'm happy to answer your questions. Yes.
Yeah. Well, my question is what's it about?
Oh, well, the Adan trilogy is it's epic fantasy with a backdrop of a holy war, and it is very much my shortest pitch of all is it's Beowulf meets Buddhism, which is to say, which sounds a little odd maybe to a lot of people, but it is the story of in one sense of a young man in the midst of these epic events, a holy war, who is for a very good reason loses his home and has to find himself in this world, and in the process of finding himself in this world discovers that a lot of the things he assumed about other parts of this world are not the case.
Okay.
But yeah, it is. When I say it's Beowulf meets Buddhism, there's a lot of Old English and Old Norse influence in here. I'm the medievalist, and that's my wheelhouse.
I definitely felt it.
You can feel it in the cover as well. With the long haul there, and oh, there it is, Brian. First Beowulf.
No, you've already mentioned. Wait, no, you haven't mentioned Beowulf.
Okay, yeah, it was going to come up
anyway.
But it also includes, because I lived in South Asia. I lived in Nepal for a time, and while I was there, I'm no expert on Hinduism and Buddhism, but I did read a fair bit about those things, and I got to experience those religions over there as they're practiced there. And I was I kind of fell in love with the philosophy behind Buddhism and to a large degree Hinduism. The idea that we are fleeting creatures, but we are also connected to everything, and we live through everything, and we see ourselves reflected in everything. And that is a philosophy that it really very much undergirds the magic in this trilogy, and it also is part of that journey that this main character Dayraven is undertaking. This revelation that I experienced myself when I was fortunate enough to live in South Asia.
No, that's awesome. And I will say, I am a sucker for your writing style.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I love the description. The prose is just fantastic. I'm like, this is my bread and butter. Like, that's what I like try to do with my adult stuff is similar style. And I'm like I'm gonna eat this trilogy up. Like it's gonna fly through my Kindle,
Well, thank you. Yeah.
And this is completely self-published too, which is right. So that's even more amazing, and I wanted to ask you, being a self-published author, what made you determine to go that route? Like, did you set out to go that way, or did you start with traditional? What did you do?
I did start with traditional, and I got as far as having an agent. And you probably both know, he's a very good agent, by the way, fantastic fellow. Was actually the president of Writers House, which is a pretty big agency in New York City. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I had the pleasure of working with him for a time, and unfortunately, he made the big pitch during the pandemic. And you probably also know that traditional publishing went through a lot, like everyone else, during the pandemic. And it was a year before the publishers even got back to my agent just to say, okay, yes, we got your submission, And I think that's when I realized, oh my goodness, something is broken. Something is really broken here. And I had a conversation with my agent, and we agreed that ultimately we thought it would be best for me to go the self-publishing route, because it also seemed like a time still seems like a time in publishing when there's less interest in traditional publishing for epic fantasy.
100%.
That's how it is. right now.
100%.
So it felt like I was gonna have to, even if I got really lucky, if I won the lottery a second time after getting an agent, if I got lucky and there was a publisher who would be interested, it felt like it would be waiting forever and ever. And so, yeah, we just agreed, yeah, let's go. You go ahead. And I had worked on my own. I'd hired a developmental editor, a fantastic one in AP Canavan, who's also got a YouTube channel called A Critical Dragon.
Oh, okay.
Yep. He's just brilliant. A fantastic developmental editor. So I felt like the books were in great shape, and I decided to take the plunge and self-publish. And I'll tell you, the first thing I felt when I made that decision was this beautiful sense of liberation.
Yep.
Liberation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I realized that it was one of the smartest things I've ever done, was to just stop waiting for someone else to publish my trilogy and go ahead and do it, because we're fortunate to live in a time when we can do that, when we can hire a great developmental editor, when we can work with great artists, when we can have great cover designers and people who work freelance. I have a fantastic people I met and I had the joy of working with, like Jack Shepard, who did my map for both the trilogy as I published it and the new map for the Broken Binding. It's just beautiful. So I just love this journey that I've been on, and I love that I get ownership of this to a degree where I'm not on my own, because I do think we self-published authors really do need to take our craft seriously, and we need feedback from really great editors and other people who want to look at our stuff and tell us, this doesn't work, you need to work on this, and I needed to hear that from my agent initially, and then from AP. So I think that if we do take it seriously, though, we are just as capable of producing great literature as any traditional publishing house. So
no, and that's a very good connection, because as you were mentioned in the video of the announcement, you kind of alluded to like why we went the self-publishing route as opposed to the traditional. And we did query for well over a year to year and a half, and we didn't get a sniff. And I'm like it. So just a quick backstory. Me and Dewey started as critique partners back in 2017. He had a version of this story during our first, when we started critiquing each other's work. I offered some suggestions. The biggest one was swapping. It was originally Tanner, the Tendersword, which was a young boy. I said, let's make it a little girl named Tanna. The dynamic is going to like really open up the story. Between
I think it's a brilliant suggestion. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, great suggestion, whatever. So and I don't want to speak for Dewey. Dewey can say all this stuff. But querying was weighing a little bit on him. And I was like, no, we cannot give up on this story. This story is too damn good. And I was like, let's work together. Let's collaborate some ideas, come up with some stuff, and see if we can streamline this story to make it a little bit more accessible. And let me query it, because I've been querying my adult stuff for many, many years, and I'm just kind of stubborn that way. I was like, I'm going to do it. Let me do it. And I did it, and we didn't get nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all these agents I queried, their MSLs were like, we want stories like this. We want something like this. And I'm thinking, we have to get something. Nothing. And then the pandemic hit.
It's tough.
And me and Dewey were just like sitting there, and I had already made the decision to go the self-pub route on my adult series, because I was also not getting much treadway there.
Yep.
So I was like, Dewey, let's go self-pub. And he just like lit up behind the eyes, because he wanted, like, he's the illustrator. He's the guy that does the drawings. This is his story.
Beautiful illustrations, by the way. And a lot of the life in this book is in the illustrations. Yeah.
Thank you.
And as you said, it's the creativity and the liberation of having all creator ownership. So Dewey, if you want to add to that, because obviously the illustration is all you, and the basis of the story is all Dewey. So I give him all the credit there.
I will say I was done. I was like, I am so over all you agents and so over all the rejections. And And I've I've lived with this story all my life, or for a significant part of my life, and it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna put it over here. And I tried a couple other things, but my creative fire to get it out and published was over. And when Bill, and that was when I knew Bill, and when I kind of just put it away, and I put it in a folder I have on my computer that's called "Oh Well," and
Oh wow!
I was like, "Oh well," I put it in there, and that was tough because it had been through it. I've been through a lot with it, and so Bill, this story wouldn't be out without Bill, and he's the one that essentially bopped me on my head and said, "Snap out of it, get over yourself, and let's get this done. Let's get this self-published."
All right.
And so I said, "Okay, all right." And so we did, and he re-edited it, like he did another sweep through of it, and then I scurried to get all the images done, and we got it out, and it was an experience. When you were talking, Philip, about your experience about liberation, that's what I had. That's what Bill and I both had, was just like, this is a pain in the bottom. It's really it's a lot of work.
Yep.
But gosh darn it, it's worth it. Yeah.
Yep.
And I loved the creative process over every single step of the way. And that was something that Bill and I were just working with together, because you mentioned you had an editor that you'd gone to, or a developer. Bill is like, he's incredible. And so it was kind of like we just matched each other in this little this incredible synergy of getting this thing together and put together. And I will say that versus a couple of years, because I looked into self-publishing about 4 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And you look at Amazon then, and KDP, and they would always have these big, sets of books that you'd have to order to learn how to do it, and all of this. And it was a really conflated process. It's way too much. It is comparatively so much simpler now to do.
Even I could do it. It's not that hard. Yeah.
and that speaks to something. That speaks to how, okay, that blockade of technology and making it so complicated, that blockade is quickly going away. Authors, if you're out there and you have that story and you want to get it out, there is nothing stopping you. Get it out there. And I really think that that's an important message that indie authors need to hear, is that just make it good, make it the best you can make it. Don't put anything out that you're not happy with. You got to be 100% happy with it. You got to stand behind it, but do your due diligence and make it good, make it quality. And that's what this indie community needs. It needs the quality that's going to rival, if not surpass, traditional.
Because your story deserves that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, thank you. And everybody's story,
Yeah.
Right.
And when I say exactly, I meant everyone's story. Like if you're going through that process, your story deserves that respect and that dignity of being the best it can be. So, all right.
Hit the wheel. Hit the wheel.
Off my horse. You got me talking. Okay, here we go.
We're on the wheel. I love the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got some good questions here. We got to get to these.
Okay, let's do it.
Malevolent 6. I almost put 666, but I didn't want to invoke anything. Okay, so let's see. This is one of my questions, Bill. I'll do another one. I promise. Okay. Do you believe in ghosts or paranormal activity? And if so, have you had any spooky encounters that you'd like to share?
Am I supposed to answer that?
Yes, that's you.
Oh, okay. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't know. I'm gonna waffle on this one, because I don't want to be dismissive, and I don't want to say no. I don't think there are ghosts. I'm inclined not to believe in ghosts, but who am I? I don't know. So I do believe in the spiritual. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I think that there are things that we don't understand in the universe, and maybe to the point where there are even forms of consciousness that we don't yet understand. So to the degree that you want to label that ghost, okay, then I'll be fine with that. But I guess I'm not. The jury's out for me on that one. How is that for waffle? How is that for waffling, guys?
That's a good waffle. I'd eat that waffle. So no ghost adventures for you with Zach and all that. Okay. Yeah, no. I won't talk about ghosts because I can go off on a tangent. So here, let me spin the wheel. Let's see what we got. Sinister 5. Okay, I hope this is one of yours, Bill. I think it is.
I hope so.
I'm sorry, I was trying to fill it out. Okay, if you were a character, which SPFBOX semifinalist world would you want to be a part of? And then these books here.
Thank you. Finally got my questions.
Okay. Oh, wow. I would love to meet the dragon in the Sunset Sovereign. For sure. Vakandi. His name is Vakandi. I love dragons. South Breaks. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a really cool Mesoamerican setting that would be probably quite beautiful. Trollgrave, I gotta say, it's got the Old Norse vibes going big time.
Yeah, that's bread and butter.
That's my wheelhouse.
And I love that title. I love.
Oh, it's a great title.
It's so cool.
Yeah. The cover is pretty striking as well.
It's a great cover too. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Alex has got a great book there. Soul Stealer. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Vakandi, yes. The waking one. Yeah, watchful. Good. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And I would love to have some of his soup. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And Soul Stealer is such a great, beautifully crafted book too, you guys. It's really fantastic. And then there's the Tenacious Tale of Tanna the Tendersword.
Well, I mean, if you're like,
I can't answer this. This is too hard. It's like picking your favorite child.
No,
I don't know. I'm gonna go talk to Vakandi, I guess. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick Sunset Sovereign, so I can have that soup
and see all the pottery.
Yeah.
All righty. Bill, do you want to come back to this, or do you
do one more? Do one more.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope I get one of yours. I filled it out with a few of mine. I'm sorry.
I think this one.
They're all
great. Might be a good one too.
Macabre too. Let's see. Okay. Then the candelabra. We go macabre. Choose a horror film you think you'd survive and tell us why. Halloween, Hostel, Misery, Nosferatu, or Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Okay, right now, if Brian is still in the chat, he's laughing at me because he knows that I'm a complete wimp and I don't watch horror movies.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think I probably would do very poorly in any of those. I'd probably be the first. Doesn't the medievalist get killed first in all those films?
I seem to remember one in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. There was a medievalist, and he had a little backpack that was filled with all his scrolls and papers. And yeah, they took him out.
I'll have to just go by the title, and I'll go with Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh my gosh!
Because that's such a classic.
That's the weirdest title I've ever seen in my life.
You've never seen the movie?
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god! It's like a B movie.
I mean, is it scary though?
No.
Nah, not really.
I mean, if you don't like clowns, they're very creepy, but they're like very weird looking.
Okay.
Like they're not like the creepy clowns.
They're aliens.
You see at like the circus. They're like alien clowns because obviously they're from outer space.
Okay, sounds wacky. All right.
It's very wacky.
After this town, and they put them all in these like giant cotton candy bulbs, and they like suck the people's life force out of the cotton candy. It's the wackiest movie. It's such a camp. Yeah,
I'm clearly missing something really
exactly very
significant here. Yeah. All right, I have to watch it. Yeah.
Okay, Dewey. Let just go back to number 1 because that's the important question that I have.
Okay.
That Brian's still on here. We got to make sure Brian gets this one.
Okay.
Number 1.
Hopefully he's listening.
Since it is Halloween, your sub-judges, Abel, Vaughn, Matt, Sam, and Brian, are in a slasher film. Who dies first and who is the final girl?
Oh, no. I have no idea. Oh, geez.
That's why I had to get to this question.
You know what? I'm going to do a total cop-out here, and I'll just say the order that I read their books in. The order they got the books to me is the order they're going to die in. So that means that Vaughn is going first, and then Matt, and then Abel, and then Sam, and then Brian gets to be the final girl.
That'll make Brian happy.
Yeah,
I hope so. That's a good status to have because you're alive.
I mean, as long as you survive the film.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay, Bill, do you have any questions?
Well, no, I'm gonna open it up to Philip or the group here. Do you have any questions for us that didn't, relating to Tanna or SPFBO or anything in general?
I noticed that Tori said she's starting Tanna.
Tori,
also a great indie author. So The Bloodstones, her most recent publication.
Dewey has something related to Tori's Bloodstones, and he's going to show you.
Cool. I have a copy. I have not read it yet, though. There it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was going to show you because Tori.
Tori, I want you to know, Tori, because I shelve my books alphabetically. So, Tori, your book, Tori Tekken, is right next to Tolkien. So, yeah, not a bad spot. Yeah. And after Mary Stewart, who I also love, by the way. Mary Stewart, have you read her Arthurian books?
No.
No.
No, okay. Oh, she's brilliant. But anyway, yeah, here it is.
Well, Dewey is starting to, his illustrations.
Oh, you're working with Tori, aren't you, Dewey? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what would you say? I'm sorry.
Okay, are you allowed to talk about that?
I think so, Tori. Are you okay if I show what I did for you?
She'll answer in the chat.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, she shared it on social media, so
I know.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be extra careful. So
okay, all right. Well, let me pull it up.
There we go.
So this is an illustration. I'll share here when I get up. This is an illustration of her main character, Liv, that I did for her.
Oh, that is so cool. I've actually seen that and liked it, I think, on Twitter or somewhere. Or X.
Yeah. On the X. Yeah, this is what I did for her. And
that's
this
brilliant.
Well, thank you. A lot of fun. All black and white art, because that's kind of what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a lot of fun for Tori. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Do you use pen and ink, Dewey? Is that what you're medium?
At this point, I use digital pen and ink. But I am, like in the past, I use brushes, ink brushes, and I do Croquill pens, and so I did physical media in the past. But this is just so much simpler and quicker and easier to manage.
Cool.
Dewey's actually working currently on a novella cover for my.
Yeah. For me. I'm a little nervous about that.
So we'll see how that one comes out, but. No, Dewey is a fantastic artist, as evident in the Tenacious Tale. So
and writer, apparently. So it's not fair if you get to be super talented in more than one thing like that, Dewey. That's not fair. Did you make a deal with Mephistopheles or something for that?
Shh. No. We don't speak his name.
I've seen it before. One of my favorite writers. Such a great person too. If you've ever interacted with her, is Jenny Wirtz, who does all her own covers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, she's just. Which one do I want to show you? I like the Perils Gate one, but I think this one, Grand Conspiracy, is a good one. But yeah, she does all her own covers.
Oh, hold on. Let me. Here I am squinting, and I'm like, wait, I'll just take this off.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she does all her own covers, and she's actually married.
I love that.
She's married to Don Mates, who's a very famous fantasy artist as well. So they've got a lot of talent in their family. But yeah, she does her own as well. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So good for you having both of those talents.
Thank you. Well, it save in a pragmatic kind of way. It saves money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially self-publishing.
Yeah. And you know, I really think that anyway, it was an honor to work for Tori. So thank you, Tori, for giving me that opportunity. Liv was a lot of fun to do. I haven't drawn in that style in the she has a lot of Asian influence in her character, and so I haven't really done that before.
Wait, Tim is saying you narrate too?
Well, I've read aloud. You do
have a great voice, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's just not fair.
Why, thank you.
So Dewey actually did a first live read of the first 4 chapters on our channel. So if people want to listen to Dewey narrate, but he is eventually going to do our audiobook too. He's got
that makes so much sense. You're going to be great.
So you know, he has the voice of Gale DeFort down.
Oh yeah.
Can we get a teaser? Can you do any of the voices for us?
Sure. Oh, Sickle-Fix, what are you doing, Tanna? Oh my gosh, put the rooster down. Oh, so
that's so great.
And then
I love that.
Tanna's like, "Oh, Califor, can you believe it? Oh my gosh, we're gonna have a quest after all, a quest." You know, and
that's so good.
So
I love it.
We have the voices. I haven't done Thistlewillow just yet, but or the Sorceress, but I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, that's so cool.
The one that hurts my voice is Bartleby because he talks real deep and what in the Sam Hill you guys doing? Yeah, he has that real deep, gruff voice, and I had to drink water between takes with him. But anyway, thank you.
Oh, that's so brilliant. I just had my first audiobook come out. It was narrated by a friend here on YouTube named Alan from the Library of Alexandria. And he does voices too. And I can tell already that you're going to be so good at this.
Oh, well, thank you. I've heard about him. Like I feel like maybe it was with you or somewhere else, and people were just raving about
he
him.
Did a stellar job. He did a stellar job with the narration of The Way of a Dan, and he's working on the second book now. But I can tell you're going to be so good at this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and he did his homework. I mean, there's a lot of work involved, as you're probably beginning to find out. Just getting the equipment, working with audio engineers, having to not make a sound while you're doing this, and it's so
yeah. So fortunately, that's the thing is that there's that component that people don't realize is that you have to understand your digital audio equipment, so like for example Adobe Audition is what I use, and so I'm able to go into Audition, record it, and then I'll do all of my the sound editing and everything in the background. And so I want to do a little bit of the music for the audiobook, Bill. I think I've told you that. Just to make it sound so
you're not telling me you're a musician too, are you?
I kind of am.
Oh my goodness, that's not okay. That's it. Get this guy out of here.
He's just like too cool for school. Like how like I got lucky to meet him because I get to ride his coattails. It's just
oh my goodness.
No, I'm blushing. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, let's talk about everything that Dewey's bad at now.
Oh no, there's a lot. I'm bad at resisting candy.
Today's
day. I mean, we got a pack of candy for Halloween, and it had 100-gram bars in it, and it had Twix, and it had, notice I'm using past tense, had
I was gonna say, nobody was not there anymore.
Boxes of sugar daddies, and everything that was left were the little Hershey bars and the dots. The box of dots. I didn't touch those. The kids.
You're not interested in those, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that was all gone. Yeah, and I do like gummy bears, and that kind of that's
how I paid him in doing my adult cover.
He pays me in gummy bears.
I paid him in gummy bears.
That's so funny. So I want to follow up on the musician thing. What instruments do you play? What can we expect to hear on the audiobook?
So I'm a trained pianist. So
Okay.
I've been playing piano since I was 6.
Wow.
So I do. I have my keyboard over here in the other part of my office, and so I do, some keyboard work. But I also play bass guitar, which is the fun one where you get to stay on stage and play some cool rock and roll. But for the music for the audiobook, I'm going to use my keyboard.
Okay.
And, I already have it in my head. I haven't done it yet, though.
You're composing the music yourself.
I think I am. I have it in my head. I can hear it. So hopefully I can translate it out and get it. But I've recorded music before. Like I've had a band in the past, and we've done recordings, and so I kind of know how to do it. I just need to do it.
That is so cool. You guys have so much cool stuff going on. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's Brian in the chat too. Mentioned that he is also a very good pianist.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So there's talent here on BookTube. Yeah.
They're really, and this whole thing is new to us too. The BookTube part, and this is actually really fun to do. This piece. We had initially started out. We're going to have edited videos. We're going to go in. We're going to create edited videos, and I did
last very long.
I did that once. I said, nah, this isn't going to work.
I also can't follow a script for the life of me. Like I had to I kept on going off script, off tangent, and I think I filmed the opening of just me saying something like, "Hey, welcome to," about 20 times. I'm just like, I can't say this stupid little sentence. And I wrote it out and put it up here, to read cue cards. And I'm just like, God, this is terrible. Why would we do this?
Yeah.
And then we lost out coming into this. It works out because the way that we have a good dynamic, me and Dewey, is I usually read the books, and no offense, Dewey doesn't. And we come at it from a different angle. I come at it I understand what the author was trying to do, and then he's just let's draw this stuff out and get learn more about it. So it kind of works.
There's my weakness. So I'm a very slow reader
because you're busy making music and drawing and doing all that other stuff, right? So and narrating the audiobooks and
well Bill is so fast and good. He doesn't just skim it. He reads these books, and I'm like, well, that's gonna be your power, because I'm too slow. But I do read books. I do read. I just don't read a lot.
That's part of why Bill's a good editor, I imagine.
Oh my gosh, he's incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
That was a learned skill. That was, not to get too deep into it, but I've been writing my adult for over 17 years. Mm-hmm. So over that time, you learn how to edit and do a semi-decent job with it. So, but I will say, and this is the funny thing is, and Tim Wolf mentioned this earlier, is if you read my adult story versus Tanna, they're completely different because, adult versus middle grade.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to be able to change your editor brain between the two age levels, because with middle grade, you have to have the fun. You have to have that little whimsy, that quirkiness, that weird vibe that kids have, that awkwardness. Whereas you don't usually put that in adult characters,
right?
Because it's just most of us grow out of that stuff.
Most of us.
Yeah,
most of us. And he's like side-eyeing me as he says that.
So yeah, it's fun editing different age levels, and it's not an easy thing. And we were kind of, and this is what Tori mentioned, and we were talking to Andrew D. Meredith, in a different chat earlier today.
Another great indie author. Yep.
Exactly. And how he posted today about, because he started reading Tanna last night, and he's like, this is a game
I saw
changer.
his message on Twitter. Yeah, that was really cool. What he said about it was really, what did he say?
I know.
It was something along the lines of like, well, he's struggling with his art, and this is like a bright light, but he's like, with middle grade, not like now as a finalist, this is a game changer, he thinks, in indie.
Yeah.
And we're completely humbled by the fact that people even are reading this story, let alone saying stuff like that. But it is amazing, because it's just like, middle grade, most adults are just like, nah, we're not gonna read middle grade, or it's just too below us. But then, like, especially in the indie space, and we were talking about this with Andrew, and it's just like, most adults that read indie are probably not going to be reading indie middle grade and then handing it off to their kids. Mm-hmm. And most kids, middle grade readers, probably don't have an e-reader and a Kindle Unlimited account. So like, for us, trying to find our readers was always going to be a challenge, when we decided to go self-pub. So by being able to get this far in the competition and like go to the finals, like, that feels like we broke a wall down. And like, I think you're going to start seeing, like, I really, really, really hope that we start seeing some more middle grade indie, because there's a lot of good middle grade out there, and they're just not as well viewed. Not like viewed as in like seen, but like, they're just not as popular or something. Like, what I'm trying to say. Like, so like, I feel like this is a great thing for middle grade in general as well.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's wonderful. I mean, I have to confess, I don't actually know what middle grade entirely means, but what I know is this is a beautiful story that I would read for my own enjoyment, but I would recommend for any kid that I know who has a sense of imagination and wonder. And you two just do a brilliant job of tapping into that childlike sense of wonder that every adult should be in touch with. And that is just a beautiful thing. So I am so glad that Brian decided to make this the semifinalist, and it was a joy for me to read this book. Really, it was. As I said in the beginning, I was laughing all the time while I was reading the book, and feeling connected to these beautiful characters, this duo in here, and some of the side characters as well, and who I hope to get to know more in the sequels. So
it's a small cast, so yes, it's for sure. Well,
now we plan to bring back a lot of them, especially a ne'er-do-well gap-toothed salesman that has a flying bird oddity wagon. Will Farnsworth.
Yeah.
My favorite characters to write were the door knockers. Like Dewey's the owl. Dewey had the ideas. The owl door knockers. Dewey, obviously was the creator of those, but some of the way that they speak was some of my input, like the sarcastic
short stack.
Input. Yeah, the short stack comments. That was mine. So like, I loved writing those owl door knockers, because they're just so snarky and so fun, and they're different. There's 3 of them, so they're obviously a little different.
Yeah. No, there are so many quirky elements in here. And that's part of the fun, honestly. And that's what fantasy is, isn't it? Fantasy is the literature of imagination. It's the form of writing that encourages us the most to be free and to use our imaginations. And you two do it in such a whimsical, beautiful way in here I love it. I absolutely love it. So
thank you. Well, let's go ahead and we're coming up to our time. We don't want to keep you too
Oh yeah,
late.
I'm good. I'm good for a few more minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we just wanted to ask you, are there any final thoughts or comments, or anyone in the chat? Anything for I'm sorry, I keep saying Dr. Chase. I wasn't to say Dr.
Oh yeah,
So,
you're
anything
good.
for Philip? Anything for Philip? Guys, here's your chance. Well, while we're waiting here a little bit, I have to say it was an absolute pleasure to talk with you, and I can't
100% back that up.
I cannot express enough my gratitude, and from the most humblest of places. It's weird and bizarre, but very gratifying. So thank you. I mean, it's not something I'm used to. So it's not something. Think of how Galdefort would receive this kind of recognition, and that's how I am. I'm like,
a little tiny, little curling of the mouth with Galdefort is really quite something, I think. So that's when it curves just the slightest bit, that he's actually quite delighted.
Especially he what did Brian call it? He's oversensitive. Is that what he called it the other day? He's oversensitive and Tanna's undersensitive, and they met in the middle.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really great
oversecure
way of saying how they equal each other out. In the end of the story.
I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Has either of you ever read One Piece, the manga?
I haven't read the manga, but I've seen it, or not
because
not all of it, obviously, but
you've seen the anime. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I've seen the anime.
I had to. I said it during the discussion with Brian and the others, but I never thought I would meet a character who reminded me of Luffy in One Piece. And Tanna is like the female Luffy, I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I thought, I love this kid. I love this Tanna. She reminds me of Luffy in her just indomitable spirit, and her tenaciousness, her following her quest, her dream, and it was just so beautiful. Yeah,
I can totally see that. When you said that, I went, yeah.
I didn't think about it until then you said it, and then like somebody else who was actually in Brian's subgroup, Antano Spareboom, I was talking to him on the side, and he goes, yeah, now that he mentions Luffy, Tanna is Luffy, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
We do have one question from Laura here on the screen.
Okay.
Philip, you are on the busy ride of self-publishing Incredible Trilogy. In time for your next work, will there be another one?
Yeah, actually, I am working on a sequel that I hope to publish in 2025, and it's called While Darkness Gathers.
I like that.
Standalone sequel to the trilogy, which I recommend reading the trilogy first, but it's about 15 years after the trilogy ends.
Okay. That's fantastic. All righty. Well,
hold on. We got to show Shane. Shane wants to beg you out of that.
Shane. Oh, thank you, Shane. I don't know. I don't even have a copy yet myself, so I'm kind of.
Are you going to be on the first tier, or are you going to be on like that 18th tier that nobody gets?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just learning how all this stuff works. But hopefully everybody who wants a copy gets to get one. Yeah, and I'm excited. And I hope. I think Shane is a subscriber. I think to the Broken Binding, so that'll give him a better chance of getting one. So.
Do you have anything like anywhere you would like to point viewers to? Do you have a website or your own YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel creatively named Philip Chase.
I don't know where you came up with that one.
It took me hours to figure that one out. I did get this tagline though, the best of fantasy, which is part of my shtick. So Philip Chase, the best of fantasy, is my YouTube channel, where I try to have fun and read great literature that I love to talk about, like this book. But yeah, that's where I am. I putter around a little bit on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. There I am, Philip Chase 90. And that's it, really, as far as social media. I'm terrible.
Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
I am in tune with my inner Galdefort too,
Well, good. Yeah. We all need an inner Galdefort, especially when it comes to all the Instagram and it gives me a headache. I know Bill's on that, but every time I look at it, I get a heart palpitation. It's like,
I get overwhelmed. It's overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overstimulated or something.
So before we go, so the next phase of SPFBOX is what, 5 or 6 months long, where you're going to read the other 9 books?
I have to read the other 9 finalists and score them. And at the end of that, of course, all the other judges are doing the same. And at the end of that, whoever has the highest average score is the winner of SPFBOX. So
obviously you haven't read the other ones yet, or maybe you had dabbled into them.
I had not read any of the other ones yet.
I'm not putting you on the spot or anything, but how awesome do you think you would feel if you won the last 2 in a row? Because you won last year's.
Well, I mean, I was lucky enough to have Murder at Spindle Manor in my batch last year. And I got to tell you guys, when I read Murder at Spindle Manor, I knew that was going to be my finalist right away. I was like, this is it. I mean, I still had some books to read and I read them and enjoyed them, but there was nothing. I just knew there was just something. It was more of a gut thing. Yeah. This is great writing. I mean, from the first few pages, I knew this was great writing. I knew this was great character work. I knew that it was very atmospheric. I thought, this is it. I had the same feeling when I read this.
Oh, wow.
I had the same feeling. So who knows? I mean, what's going to happen? It's up to the other judges, obviously. But I had the same feeling when I read Tanna. Really did. So I was like, yeah, this is it. As much as I loved the other semifinalists, and I really did, if this hadn't been in my semifinalists, any one of them could have been the finalist. But I read this and there was just that spark, and I thought, yeah, this is it. So
wow, thank you.
Yeah, that's great, and I don't want to
Okay, I'm moving my curmudgeon scale down. Hold on.
What's he doing?
I'm moving my curmudgeon scale down. Okay, there we go. I'm at a 5 now. Thank you.
He's moving his curmudgeon scale down. That's how you melt Dewey's curmudgeon heart. Is give him praise like that.
You're gonna have to stop writing great books, you do too, or you're gonna be no longer curmudgeons.
I don't know about that. There's still a lot to be curmudgeon about in this world.
All I have to do is go to Kroger. It's our local grocery store. It's like instant, like. Okay, well,
that's amazing. And Philip, thank you again for joining us, and again, thank you to you, obviously, and to Brian and the rest of your judging team for giving all of us an equal shot. Like I said at the beginning of this, that is the greatest thing that we could have asked for, was a fair shot. That's all we wanted. And we are very, very thankful, and that we think is the best judging team that we could have possibly ever gotten. So thank you. And again, thank you for joining us today. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody in the chat. This was great. A lot of great comments. I couldn't keep up. I'm sorry, I couldn't keep up on putting them on the screen and answering them. But thank you, especially on a Halloween and short notice. So thank you, Dewey. Do you have any final?
Happy Halloween. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you again.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Stream.